Going on, everybody? Mansa here, back with another video on the channel, and today we're going to be looking at the best video games coming up for this holiday season. So for the most part, the holidays is when everybody's shopping, whether you celebrate Christmas or Hanukkah or Kwanzaa or anything like that. The video game companies, they take note of that. People are going to be getting gifts, staying home, PTO, vacation, days off, things like that. So, there's nothing better than, snuggling up with a game, playing with family, friends, things like that. So in today's video, we're going to look at the best games coming out for the rest of the year. So the rest of October, November, and December, and what games you should really check out. So if you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button, leave a comment down below on what are your favorite games that you're looking forward to, leave a like on this video, and let's get right into this. First up, we got A Plague Tale Requiem. So this game actually dropped on October 18th, and it dropped on the PS5, Xbox Series, PC, and Nintendo Switch. So a full next gen, or I guess current gen game that everyone's kind of, talking about. It's October time. It is a somewhat scary thriller type of game, dark medieval times. And it's actually launched first day on Game Pass. So day and date, you can go on Game Pass if you have a subscription and play this game. So I beat the first game in the series, A Plague Tale Innocence, and it's super interesting. It's medieval times. You're dealing with the Black Plague, as the name suggests. And your younger brother, Hugo, he's actually sick with the plague, but he's not necessarily dying or reacting to it like a lot of other people. And then he starts getting different abilities and powers like that I don't really want to spoil. But, if you play the first game or even just this game, you'll really get into it. I recommend playing the first game just because the story kind of goes together. So definitely want to check it out if you're into, I'm not really into stealth games like that, but this does a nice blend of stealth, just good storytelling, decent combat, and it just looks amazing. I've been seeing previews of this game, and it looks really good on the current gen hardware. So Plague Tale Requiem out right now. Go get it. Make sure you play it. Then we move over to the Nintendo Switch. So on October 20th, a pretty highly anticipated game, Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope, comes out. So this had a original game, Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle, and it's more of a strategy RPG game by Ubisoft and published by Nintendo, which we've seen this relationship work out pretty well between the two companies. So I'm not really into strategy games, but it definitely looks good. They're adding more, from what I've heard and what I've been seeing in videos. They've added more options as far as the difficulty and how much damage enemies do, and even just the movement on the board. Instead of making it completely linear, there's a lot more freedom as far as the combat goes. So if you're into strategy RPGs, or just like Mario, or just want something different, maybe something to really get your kids to think, or even you as an adult if you want to, this is a good pickup. So October 20th, Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope. And then jumping back over to Xbox, we have Scorn. So Scorn, again, in October, Halloween season, it's a perfect game for that. So we've seen this game probably for 2-3 years now, and we're finally getting it. So it's day one on Game Pass, and it's actually exclusive to the Xbox Series and PC. Just from looking at it, it's like a beautifully grotesque looking environment, if that makes any sense. And we've seen a little bit of the combat, the walking around in the world and things like that. But from what I've heard from the developers and people that have played the game, it is somewhat of a, walking sim, which is okay. But then they also mix in different types of puzzles. There's very minimal hand-holding. So for people that don't like, a game being force-fed to them, or getting all the hints and things like that, this is a good game for you. So Scorn, if you have Game Pass, again, you can just play it right now today. And the art direction looks really great and things like that. So if you're into this style, definitely check it out. All right, next up, on October 21st, we have a game that actually came out back on the PS4 in 2016. So we have Persona 5 Royal. I've never played anything in the Persona series except I had Persona Arena. I think it was on the Xbox 360 or maybe the Xbox One. I don't really remember. It was a fighting game from this Persona series, but Persona is one of those like super popular RPG series, especially out in Japan. So Persona, Shinigami Tensei, Xenoblade Chronicles, games like that are, those 50, 60, 70, 80 plus hour games that have just a really good storyline and characters that everybody likes. So Persona 5 Royal is finally coming to PS5, Xbox, and Nintendo Switch. So if you're into these type of games or just want to check it out, I've heard it's really highly recommended. And if you're on the Xbox family of consoles, it's actually coming to Game Pass along with Persona 3 and 4 later next year. So definitely pick it up if you have Game Pass, if you're into these RPGs, Japanese anime style video games, and you have some time to delve into a rich storied video game, definitely pick up Persona 5. All right, next up on the same day is Gotham Knights, and this game, a lot of people, including myself, was really looking forward to it. We've had some interesting developments as far as this game recently. So the developers randomly decided to scrap the last gen versions of these games. So this game is not coming out on PS4 or Xbox One. And some were happy about it, some were upset, but the real, disappointment came when they made the announcement that the game will be locked at 30 frames per second. And the game already was getting mixed reviews as far as the combat and the fluidity of everything. So if you make a game just strictly next gen or current gen and you don't have it at least at 60 frames and the combat is already choppy or clunky, it's, at least much to be desired. And so far, early reviews for the game are not looking good. We're seeing 4s, 5s, 60s, and it really sucks because, a lot of people are looking for something since Arkham Knight that came out in 2015, and to have Nightwing, Robin, Batgirl, and Red Hood being the main characters, it really sucks that they couldn't make a quality game. I'm looking forward to it, but I'll probably catch this game maybe when it falls to like $40, $30. Then rounding out October, we have Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 and Bayonetta 3. So Call of Duty, first off, they remade Modern Warfare 1, which was one of my favorite games back on the Xbox 360. They remade it back in 2019. So this is the sequel to Modern Warfare 2 that came out in 2009. So it's been almost 15 years since that game came out, and it's really making me feel old. But I know Call of Duty has become this big online multiplayer. Even in high school, a lot of people just skipped the campaign and went straight to a multiplayer, but I highly recommend playing these campaigns. I think Captain Price and Soap and all those characters, they really have a good story to tell. And there's no question that this game is going to be a top seller for the year, even though it's coming out at the end of the year. But we know how, we know what time it is when it comes to Call of Duty. So it's looking great. I've seen snapshots. I sent a picture actually to my wife and I said, do you know what town this is? And she couldn't guess. And I told her it was from Call of Duty and she couldn't believe it was actually from a video game. So the graphics are definitely looking great. The marketing's there. We know what's going on with Xbox and the Activision Blizzard deal. Hopefully that goes through at some point in the next few months and we'll be able to get these games on Game Pass. Then another game that's kind of surrounded in controversy right now, but we don't need to get into that. You can look it up for yourself. But we have Bayonetta 3 that's coming out on October 28th. Again, you're a witch, so Halloween time makes perfect sense. And people have been waiting for this game for a while now. Bayonetta has a cult following. We had the first Bayonetta that came out in like 2009, 2010 on the PS3 and Xbox 360. And then Nintendo decided to actually grab a Bayonetta and put Bayonetta 2 on the Wii U, which a lot of people didn't buy because a lot of people didn't buy the Wii U as a whole, let's be honest. But that was back in 2014. So now we have Bayonetta 3 after 4 or 5 years after being announced, finally getting a release date. So within the next week or so, people will be able to play the game. Now, we know what's going on with the controversy with the voice actor and things like that, but sales have really shot up. Pre-orders have been going up crazy for this game, and if you like the hack and slash type, Devil May Cry, God of War, then this is the game for you. Then on November 8th, launching on pretty much every console, PS5, PS4, Xbox Series, Xbox One, and Nintendo Switch. We have Sonic Frontiers. Now, Sonic is actually my favorite video game franchise of all time. I don't know if a lot of people know that, but it is. And this is their take on like that Breath of the Wild open world form of video games that a lot of games are doing right now. And I have mixed feelings on it. I want to check it out. I don't know if I'm going to check it out day one. Again, $60 is going to be a lot. But from what I've been seeing in the previews, there's the open world, but then there's, random rails and the cyberspace levels and even the traditional Green Hill Zone levels and things like that. So Sonic Frontiers, they're adding new combat, skill trees, boss battles, things like that. So definitely interesting. I'll probably reserve my judgment for when I have it in my actual hands. I can't wait for the reviews to come out because I really want to see, more gameplay and more in-depth reviews on the game. But Sonic Frontiers, grab it pretty much on every system November 8th. And then probably most people's game of the year before it's even been played or released is God of War Ragnarok, coming out on November 9th on PS5 and PS4. Now, I played God of War 2018 last year when I got my PS5, when I got my PlayStation Plus subscription, and played the PS Collection. And I'm not even exaggerating when I tell you I played maybe 4 or 5 hours every single day until I beat it. It was so good. I never played any God of War game before, and it just blew me away. Just from the narrative to the story to the conversation and interaction between the characters, the combat, things like that. And God of War Ragnarok's story itself is already, gearing up to be something really interesting. The combat we're seeing with the Leviathan Axe and Blades of Chaos with the different elemental powers it's just, I think it maybe won't win Game of the Year, like overall resounding. It'll probably go to Elden Ring just because it is a sequel, but it easily can win Game of the Year for most people. So God of War, November 9th. I don't think much else needs to be said. Then a week later, we have Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. So the official Gen 9 video games coming out on the Nintendo Switch that next week after God of War Ragnarok. So two really heavy-hitting games coming out pretty close to each other. And I'll be honest, I grew up a big fan of Pokemon, but I have not bought a game since Pokemon Sun, I believe. And I didn't even play that for more than an hour. So I've been away from Pokemon for a while, but from what we're seeing with Pokemon Legends Arceus kind of introducing new open world elements and combining that with the traditional sense from Pokemon Sword and Shield, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, adding more features even from its own self is kind of gearing up to make it seem like it's a must buy. So normally I buy the first game in the series like Ruby, Fire Red, Diamond, but this time I'm going with Violet, even though it is a lot easier to get version exclusives nowadays with Wi-Fi and things like that. But I just think Violet kind of looks like the better game, the better mascot. It has Salamence in it, so I'm definitely going for Pokemon Violet on November 18th. Then next up, we have a game that a lot of people aren't really talking about, and it's Evil West. So this game's coming out on November 22nd, and it looks like a mix between Gears of War, Devil May Cry, God of War, and like Red Dead Redemption. Like, honestly, I have no idea what this game's actually about, but I just know the combat, the weapons, the enemies, the graphics, everything like that. Like, this game's kind of flown under the radar a little bit, and I was thinking, like, is it going to get delayed because it's not getting a lot of coverage and it's coming out very soon, within a month. So Evil West, I mean, you can see in the trailer here, is just, if you're into this type of game, just I say give it a shot. I mean, it might be a day one game for me, I'm not gonna lie, depending on when I finish God of War Ragnarok, but Evil West, November 22nd, dropping on all consoles. Then a couple days later, on November 25th, we have an Xbox and PC exclusive Pentiment from Obsidian Studios. So this game, I already know I'm not going to play it, but it is an interesting game. It is more of a interactive, dialogue-based murder mystery type of game, and it has in like old English style with like, you know, just like those old books from, you would imagine like the Middle Ages, what they would look like if they made a storybook, that's what this will look like. So it's interesting. Obsidian's known to make a bunch of different types of games and pretty much hit them out the park every single time. And this will be dropping on Xbox Series X and PC and Game Pass day one. Now moving on to December, so the last month of the year, we have Calistol Protocol. So this game, from first glance, does remind me, and probably a bunch of other people, of Dead Space, which is also getting a remake in the following January 2023. But it's just a different feel to this game. Now, I never played Dead Space back on Xbox 360, but for some reason, Callisto Protocol is like calling my name. I'm not super into like the horror genre, but the horror, adventure, exploration, combat, alien type of, setting is kind of making me want to try this game. So it comes out on December 2nd, and it will be next gen only. So only on the Xbox Series, PS5, and PC. So November 2nd, you can grab Callisto Protocol. And then winding down the year, we have High on Life, which was actually supposed to come out in October. So it was supposed to be out already this month, but it will be only on Xbox Series, PC, and Game Pass day one, December 13th. So this game comes out from the minds of Justin Roiland, the creators of Rick and Morty, Solar Opposites. And it's just one of those like crazy, wacky, like just over the top, like kind of like Ratchet and Clank in a sense, just from like the weaponry. But each weapon and gun, it seems like, has its own personality. It talks, it has eyes, and there's going to be just that, familiar voices from the shows that Justin Roiland has created, the humor, things like that. And I think that's what's going to be the main like interesting and entertaining part of this game, is just getting that commentary just going through the game. But I didn't want to watch too much of the gameplay, surprisingly, because I wasn't going to watch it on mute, but I also didn't want to just spoil a lot of the little jokes and hidden commentary and things like that in the game. But the game looks great. They delayed it a little bit, but December 13th, we should be getting High on Life, Xbox exclusive, and day one on Game Pass. And then to end the year, we have Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core. And this was a game that came out all the way back in 2007 on the PlayStation Vita. So it's been locked on that system for 15 years. And for the first time, we're getting it on December 13th. I did play Final Fantasy VII Remake on the PS5. I really liked it. I enjoyed it a lot. The graphics were great. The combat was smooth. And this is a prequel to that. So some of the events I get hinted to in Final Fantasy VII Remake, you'll actually get to live out in Crisis Core. So December 13th on pretty much every system, PS5, PS4, Nintendo Switch, PC, Xbox Series, Crisis Core will be coming out December 13th. So that pretty much wraps it up, guys. Thank you for watching this video. Again, let me know in the comment section below, which of these games are you most excited for? Which could you care less about? Which ones did I forget to mention? So make sure y'all let me know in the comment section below. Subscribe again if you haven't already. Leave a like, and I'll catch you in the next video.